So the title of the series is Voices of Diaspora, right? So when you were putting this work together, where how was it, what was your process in deciding what would be included in this first series of books? What people would be included? Because as you say, we are a mighty and great people, and there are a mighty and great amount of people that go unsung in love and honor and respect to your mother and your father. You know what I mean? Because we have you. And so how did you begin to collect your unsung heroes for this series?
Excellent question. So my selection process was devoid of me. It was devoid of me. Once you make something for public consumption, you're no longer the hero in the story. If you want to write something that you want to read and it's made for you, keep it to yourself. Once you put it out there in circulation, it's subject to review, it's subject to public scrutiny, it's subject to the rant and rave that comes with its elevation and with its degradation. So I begin to poll the people in their mind. I went out of my mind and went into their mind. I said, who can I utilize from the people's mind to be able to reacquaint them with themselves? So there are figures out there who have ideologies that I don't really necessarily gravitate towards, but the people, it's recognizable. You understand what I'm saying? When you have a concept in mind, if I could add this really quick, y'all have the UnRead podcast, right? I'm after the Never Read podcast. The Never Read, don't ever want to read. Reading is very disgusting and disparaging to me. Reading is work. You understand what I'm saying? So I came to our people with a message to the people. This is one of the books, right? A message to the people who suffer from Black fatigue to avert the destruction of Black civilization, okay? So those are three books. And if you put those three books on the table and ask the young man or young woman to read them, they might, they might, if they were acculturated properly, if they grew up with somebody as wise as Nick, you see that bookshelf right there. You see what I'm saying? And and Queen Mother, I don't even know if we have enough screen on the screens, Dad, the screens up the screens and the screens up together to put your books together. And I snatched up three books right here in the stack of about 50 that's sitting over here, actually, right? To illustrate, because these books that were liberating tools for us are mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical change for our youth. We send them off to people who don't care anything about them and see them as competition for their own children. So in that environment, they aren't growing, they're devolving. So now a book in front of them is an act of war. So with the unread, never read, wished I never picked up a book. Oh my goodness, don't come over here with no book situation in mind. The pictures and the selections, they were very concise and very precise. So name recognition, facial recognition, all of those things. It's like, oh, who's that? Oh, that's such and such. Oh, that's such and such. That's such and such. That's a game right there within itself. Who's this? Who's this? Who's this? Who's this? Oh, that's such and such. That's such and such. That's such and such. Well, who's this? Now they have to read it. Now they got to read it because it's on the page, right? They have to read it. That is Bessie Smith. Who's that? Oh, she did what? Madam C.J. Walker did what? Like millionaire? She was balling. Hold up. Oh, let me do my research. So they pick up their device, right? And they begin that process. They begin that process right there. And that's when the light goes back on. It's like, oh, if she could, I can. that reconnection with someone who looks like them that did something in life that they want to do in life. So that was the selection process. I could have came with 3,000 people that you never heard of and blah, 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 and all of that. But, no, no. You can go there after. You can start here, but you have to start. A journey begins of a series of steps. So you have to take them steps. You take one step towards God, God take 2 steps towards you. You in that process, right? That's the beginning of the dance. So I'm doing the dance and I'm after them because those are the best and the brightest. They just don't have the inclination to look. They can build things, they can make things. You see these things that they come up with, these dances, these perspectives, and all of that. But when it comes to this is like instructions that came with a box of a thing you're supposed to put together. The amount of time, effort, and energy that was spent to make sure that you had the proper instructions to construct this thing is there. But if you're not a reader, they wasted their time with that paper. They didn't put it in 27 different languages, right? And we throw that to the side and we just start humming it. We started humming it, right? Humming it and humming it, humming it and humming it. So that becomes the basis where which we take reading out of the equation. So being after these young people and being after their parents and being after their peer group and being after their community, all of them, if they were not acculturated the way we were acculturated to reading, they won't read. And they speak how they text. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, all right. So that's a whole language right there. And that's a thing that somebody has to write. So I'm like, well, what does that mean? They'll type it in to look it up for that moment, but they won't retain it. So putting these things together very artfully, it had to be aesthetically pleasing. It had to be something that speaks to your analytical side and your creative side together. So I had a serious goal in mind and I couldn't miss no steps. You understand what I'm saying? So that process took me some time to formulate in my mind, but once it began to flow, it was flowing. So them 5 books in this ebook series, with 5 more to come, is 10 in all, but 5 are done. The other 5 are in production. So these first 5 are what they call them the light where the sail people, they see the lighthouse back to sail.